Many cities in the Rust Belt region of the U.S. have struggled in the post-industrial age. Grand Rapids was no exception. However, since 2010, this western Michigan city has come back to life. It is a city that has reinvented itself and now experiencing economic growth and a healthy job market. Located 30 miles east of Lake Michigan on the banks of the Grand River sits one of the fastest growing cities in the Midwest. While it is Michigan's second largest city, it is still a mid-sized city, not too big, not too small. It has a lot to offer for the active lifestyle, one of the top bicycling cities in the country. It is a city where the technology sector is really taking off. A city of art, hosting the popular yearly Art Prize Festival in late September. It is a city of culinary and craft beverages. When you think of beer, many people think of Milwaukee. But did you know in 2020, USA Today says Grand Rapids is the craft beer capital of the U.S. It is not only within 30 minutes of some popular coastal Michigan vacation getaways, it is also becoming a tourist destination on its own. In this video, we will show you some of the suburbs, the parks, the unique vintage homes, and recreational options. Then travel into downtown to a waterfront being revitalized. We'll then hop on the bike to bring you down on the river to experience the rapids, the River Ledge Trail, the vintage bridges. Then go into the heart of downtown, explore its culture, its heritage, the Medical Mile, home to top medical research and healthcare. Amidst its older architecture arises new modern buildings, which we will give updates on new projects going up in the city. To help businesses in a growing city, there are companies like Colliers International that can partner with you to accelerate the success of your commercial property and achieve your business goals. Grand Rapids, kind of like its obscure hometown hero Gerald Ford, who grew up here, never got a lot of attention. But I believe after this tour of this great Midwestern city, you will agree Grand Rapids is quietly becoming a major player of the Midwest. In art, in culture, in education, in technology, and also in beer and coffee. So come with us as we show you Grand Rapids, a city on the move. We start our journey in the Plainfield Charter Township part of Grand Rapids, just northeast of downtown. Versluis Park is located on a 50-acre man-made lake. It is a great area for kayaking, paddleboarding. It has a 1-mile walking trail, a fishing pier, sand volleyball court, shelter, picnic area, and a playground on sand. 2 miles south of Versluis Park is Robinette's Apple House and Winery, where you can pick up fine wine and cider. You can also experience a horse-drawn hayride pulled by a team of Belgian horses. Also hike or bike scenic trails and much more. Also on the grounds is a bakery, lunch counter, dining area, cider mill, homegrown fresh fruits in season, and a variety of other tasty treats and gift boxes. Provin Trails is a 46-acre forested park largely undeveloped with a network of natural surface trails for hiking, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing. It is located just outside the city limits of Grand Rapids and is pet-friendly. Dwight Lydell Park along Mill Creek with a paved 2/3 of a mile trail encircles the main recreation area of the park, playgrounds, picnic shelters. One more park before we arrive in downtown, and probably one of the best and largest linear parks of Grand Rapids, located 3 miles north of downtown. It runs from Knapp Street to Veterans Memorial Bridge, where there is an American Legion Hall and an area honoring the military. Riverside Park has a disc golf course, where players throw a disc at a target, played with rules similar to golf. The bike walking trail runs along the Grand River, plenty of shade, wildlife along the way. Vintage bridges, just a nice way to start the day. Riverside Park also has ball fields, soccer field, a lake as well as a river, a boat launch, picnic tables, grills, playgrounds, and over 100 acres of enjoying the nature of Grand Rapids. We are going to take a quick trip back in time. Grand Rapids is known for its rich and diverse architectural beauty. From the neoclassic revival and Art Deco buildings to the Frank Lloyd Wright Prairie style and mid-1900s design, buildings tell a story. Every city, region, every people faces struggles, and its architecture shows how those challenges were met. Grand Rapids has done a great job at meticulously preserving these storytelling buildings, showing its history. Across from the Exhibitors Building on the river is the George Welsh Civic Auditorium, constructed during the Great Depression with carved stonework. The McKay Tower, built in 1915 as a two-story building, today has 18 floors, and at the top is the McKay Ballroom. Can be rented out for events and meetings. The Pantland Hotel, built in 1936, reflects the Italian Renaissance and Beaux-Arts style of architecture. Today is the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. The Park Church Building opened in 1869. The Italian Romanesque style of the Fountain Street Church Building opened in 1924. The Riverside Building, built in 1904, made with limestone from Indiana and marble from Italy, houses the library. The Blodgett Building, built in 1886, served as one of the city's first furniture storefronts. Heritage Hill in Grand Rapids is a great area to see unique vintage homes, one of the largest urban historic districts in the U.S. The unique character of Grand Rapids was shaped largely by its European settlers, Germans, Poles, Italians, English, Irish, but none greater than the Dutch. Fleeing religious persecution in the Netherlands in 1846, landed in western Michigan, and more than 150 years later, you see their architectural influence. If you would like to take an architectural tour of Grand Rapids, see grandrapidsbuildings.com. Okay, let's head to the waterfront. We head across the historic 6th Street Bridge over to 6th Street Park. The Riverledge Trail starts at Fulton Street and runs for 2 miles through downtown and through 6th Street Park and Canal Park, ending near Sweet Street. A great ride to see the rapids in downtown. There is currently a restoration project of the rapids along the Grand River to help make the city more of a tourist destination. The Grand River is widely known as one of the finest fishing rivers in the state of Michigan. The most common fish found here are brown trout, steelhead, coho, smallmouth bass, northern pike, bluegill, sunfish, and channel catfish. On the other side of the river is also a trail. You just get the sense here that there is a lot more potential. Gorgeous scenery with the river, but the Riverwalk is not developed, at least to the point like you see in other big cities like Indianapolis or Tampa. With the universities, there is a good amount of residents in downtown, and the areas away from the river have been developed into good hangouts. However, more could be done around the river. It wouldn't take much, some nice paving, styled lighting, and maybe a riverboat cruise like the Michigan Princess, currently in East Lansing, who has expressed interest in coming to Grand Rapids. It could really spice up Grand Rapids waterfront and downtown in general. Now, across the river, we are seeing some good development, especially around the DeVos Place Convention Center. Nestled on the banks of the Grand River, the DeVos Place hosts conferences, consumer shows, and expos throughout the year. With a 162,000 square foot exhibit hall and a 40,000 square foot ballroom, the DeVos Performance Hall features performances by the Grand Rapids Symphony, Broadway Grand Rapids, as well as the opera and ballet. It is within walking distance of 3 major hotels, accessible by a climate-controlled skywalk: the Amway Grand Plaza, JW Marriott, and Courtyard by Marriott. The downtown entertainment district has really started to come to life in the last few years, with dining establishments, nightclubs, museums, and the 10,000-seat Van Andel Arena, home to the IHL Grand Rapids Griffins. Across the street from the arena is the concert hall 20 Monroe Live. Want great Italian food? Check out Uccello's. Broadway Grand Rapids, another performing arts theater. Also see shows at the Grand Rapids Civic Theater. In September, the new Canopy by Hilton opening up at Studio Park, where there are restaurants, shops, a cinema, live music on the lawn. We now go back to the west side of the river. The Gerald Ford Museum honoring our 38th president, the burial place of him and his wife Betty Ford. The Grand Rapids Public Museum offers 3 floors of history and an ex-flour mill, plus exhibits, a 1928 carousel, and planetarium. The Blue Bridge, formerly a railroad bridge when built in 1892. The Pew campus of Grand Valley State University houses the DeVos Center with lecture halls and an auditorium. Also, the engineering and art programs. We moved south of downtown towards the Fulton Street Farmers Market. We passed by Hartside Park. The Hartside district is developing as an art district, has restaurants, hotels, and the park, which opened in 2004. It has become the center of the district. It has a playground, a splash pad, large enough for outdoor community events. Taste the fresh produce of Western Michigan agriculture at the Fulton Street Farmers Market. An amazing assortment of fruits, vegetables, meats, dairy, and handcrafted foods. Take Fulton Street from the market for 3 miles to the west is one of the better zoos in the country. The John Ball Zoo offers something for the whole family. Over 2,000 animals, lions, tigers, bears, and chimpanzees. Kids can play in the Bissell Treehouse. See Wyatt the red panda, or take in a bird show, ride the funicular up the hill. It has a nice boardwalk and cliff sides through the woods, a great experience. A must-do when visiting Grand Rapids. The Mines Golf Course across the interstate from the zoo features rolling bluegrass fairways amidst a unique hilly golf course with a driving range, named for the gypsum mines that the golf course was built on top of. We now travel 10 miles to the east on I-196 to another popular tourist attraction, the Frederik Meijer Gardens and Sculpture Park. Enjoy masterpieces of art and nature at this botanical garden, art museum, and sculpture park. It has an amphitheater, a windmill, Great Lakes Garden, kettle pond, walking trails, a storytelling garden where from June to August children can enjoy story time. Across the street from the gardens is Cornerstone University, an independent, non-denominational Christian university with graduate and undergraduate programs. Grand Rapids has at times been highly rated for bicycling, and at other times lower rated. I would say from my experience, it is one of the better places for bicycling. One of the reasons is a good system of park trails like the Kent Trails, a 15-mile rail trail that takes you through the urban, suburban, and rural areas of Grand Rapids. As well as the paved trails, you can take detours onto the dirt trails. Pretty much create a path for the amount of miles that you want to ride, with all the adjoining trails. The trails connect Grand Rapids with Wyoming, Granville, and Walker Townships. It crosses over the Grand River Vintage Railroad Bridge, so you can ride on either side of the river. It also passes through Millennium Park, the largest urban park in West Michigan, and one of the largest in the country. located on the southwest side of Grand Rapids. It has 6 miles of frontage on the Grand River. Facilities include a 6-acre beach and splash pad. Boat rentals, nearly 18 miles of trails, and other unique opportunities for recreation and relaxation. South of Millennium Park is another trailhead for the Kent Trails. Johnson Park, another area for fishing, ball games, a disc golf course, and a scenic hike through wooded uplands. Johnson Park has 1.5 miles of shoreline on the Grand River. Would you like to live in a castle? Well, you can. The Grand Castle Apartments in Granville, a residential development designed and inspired by the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. It has been described as the second largest castle structure in the world. I mean, you can't miss it while driving on I-196. Designed to make everyday living extraordinary. It has a 15-story tower, pool, lakefront access, full fitness center, and walking and biking trails. In the early 2000s, Grand Rapids was a dying city, experiencing a downward trend from the industrial decline, along with cities like Flint and Detroit. However, since 2010, Grand Rapids has had an amazing comeback, with its jobs increasing almost 20%, its population 4.5%, making it the fastest growth rate of any Midwestern metro. Today, Grand Rapids is consistently ranked as one of the best and fastest growing economies in the U.S. Unlike many regions, it has a very diverse economy, a variety of several industries. The region has some of the nation's largest industry concentrations in metals, plastics, production technology, automotive. In its original industry, office furniture is still strong, while manufacturing currently accounts for 15% of all jobs in the region and remains the heart of West Michigan's economy. Grand Rapids IT technology is one of the fastest growing in the nation. It is a city that excels in education, being the home of Grand Valley State University and satellite campuses for Michigan State. An example coming up here on the right, the construction of Michigan State's new 7-story Doug Meyer Medical Innovation Building, which will produce research, testing, and commercialization of new therapies and devices, expected to open October 2021. The Medical Mile in the Hillside District of downtown continues to increase as the city is a major player in biopharmaceuticals, medical devices, and healthcare. The Daniel and Pamela DeVos Center for Interprofessional Health will give state-of-the-art resources for Grand Valley State University Medical School, beginning August 2020. Grand Rapids keeping its heritage, yet modernizing for the future, like the $40 million facelift of the Amway Grand Plaza Tower, to be completed in April 2021, will bring an impressive look to the Grand Rapids skyline. Also, the food processing and craft beverages. In 2017, World Food Travel Association named Grand Rapids second best food beverage destination experience. And when you add the growing entertainment districts, the art, the music scene, you would have to say that the future looks bright in the Grand Valley region. It is a great city to visit, to go to school, and to live. And when you combine all that the surrounding coastal regions of Muskegon, Grand Haven, Holland have to offer as well, I'd say that Grand Rapids is a city on the move. Please share your thoughts on Grand Rapids. We are Tampa Aerial Media. We shoot travel promos across the USA. For ads, licensing, or stock footage, or if you'd like us to film your city, area, or venue, contact us at info@tampaaerialmedia.com. Thank you for watching, and blessings to you wherever you may be.